Hi, everybody. My name is Bridget, and I'm from the Elephant Moon. And welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time, thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoy it. And gosh, lately I've been feeling like kind of emotional, like not like cry, weepy emotional, but um, sometimes I'm a little cry, weepy emotional. But I think I've been struggling with like grounding, remaining grounded. Maybe it has to do with the cold. Maybe it's like a seasonal depression thing. Probably not. I don't like to put labels on things. Let's not do that. But I've just been feeling a little, like, not even just down always, like, just a whirlwind of, you know, crazy emotions. And I've been wondering, maybe it's because of this new phase of the moon. Like, we were, brand new phase, brand new year. Maybe it's all the snow. Gosh, who knows? It doesn't matter. But um, maybe I'm not the only one. And so I actually want to do. This is my favorite deck. One of my favorite decks. This is my Divine Animal Oracle deck, and I got it last year for my birthday. I was in Dodge City, Kansas, and my boyfriend, he was working there, and so I'd go there every weekend, which is like a 4.5 hour trip from here. But it's all right. I actually really dug it. And I found this place called the Robin's Nest, and I just fell in love with it. Like, it was the first metaphysical store that I'd like been into. Because where I'm like from around here, there's nothing. There is now. I haven't been in there yet. I need to go check it out. But there's nothing, and this is before the Elephant Moon. Because we actually didn't start the Elephant Moon until April 5th, actually, 2020. And so we're rounding up on a year. It's super exciting. We actually have a few months left, but either way, we're so close. And it's still a thing. It's still rolling. It's still growing. And that's super freaking cool. Um, I've learned that I don't know anything about business, but I'm learning a little bit about business as I go along. And I just, I remember one time I told my dude that I wanted to teach people through my own experiences, and maybe help them through things, because um, one thing I learned is that we all go through the same kind of things. Like, all of our cycles are very similar, they're just how we handle them, how we react to them, it's all different, and it's all learned. Like, one thing I wish that they would teach in schools is emotions. I was taught there's only three emotions: happy, sad, and angry. And being sad is vulnerable. Being happy, well, gosh, people go, "Why are you happy?" Like, well, if you can't be happy, then you best figure it out because your life is gonna be terrible. But then it's easier to be angry than it is to be sad because that shows a vulnerability. I was taught don't cry, don't um, you know, don't show a sign of weakness. Being sad or crying or being vulnerable is weak, and it's not actually. It's actually very natural. It's very healing. It's very good. And I wish I had known differently when I was younger. I would have made a lot of different decisions based on logic and reason and just thinking about my tomorrow versus my right now. And they don't teach us that. And people go, "Oh, well, millennials, they're all immediate satisfaction, blah 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 blah." Well, that's what we're taught. The way that you handle things is all in how you're taught. Like, people who are sexually abused as children, they um, if they don't have proper counseling or the proper kind of support group and are able to get through that and overcome it, then it's going to cause them problems later on in life. If you were abused as a child, then you have a lot of issues. And this all stems back like your inner child. If you didn't have um, if you didn't feel safe, if you didn't feel taken care of, if you didn't feel loved, or if you didn't feel cherished, that a lot of times affects you as an adult. And so then as an adult, you're learning how to be your own hero, be your own savior, and you got to go back and like through meditation and other different exercises and heal your inner child, and then be that hero for yourself. And that brings along healing, but it takes time. And my business partner, she is 40, somewhere on there. It's hard to believe. I'm not even 30, and I just she doesn't act like she's twice my age. She doesn't. She's got kids, and she's always busy, always on the go. She's super cool, and she tells me all the time that she just started going through like her spiritual awakening. She wished that maybe she had learned a lot of these things sooner. And me being only 28 for another month, my birthday's next month, but I've gone through quite a few things at a young age, and the way that I bounce back from it, the way I get not over things, because I don't feel like you really ever get over anything. I think it's just you accept them, or you learn to move forward and not dwell on those moments. And I know in my hardest moments, I just woke up and decided I didn't want to be stuck, Like, I didn't want to be stuck on this day, because that's a hard day, that's a rough day. And, like, I don't want my whole life to be that way, So I would just decide and go forward. And, I don't know where I learned that from. Maybe it was from my stern upbringing. You just go on, and it's in the past. I remember my dad would say all the time, "It's in the past. Let it go, let it go." And easier said than done, Dad. And when I first started with my man, he would always say, "It's all in your head." And I go, "Well, duh. If I could lay it out on the table and organize it, then we wouldn't be having this conversation." And maybe that stems from me being a Pisces, epic water sign over here. I'm very, very Pisces, very much Pisces. Just because I'm very water, very emotional. My head's always in the clouds. I have to work really hard to keep my feet on the ground. And so there's moments where it's just harder to do that. And so back to where I began this story, I was at this place called the Robin's Nest in Dodge City, Kansas, and they had a tarot room. So like they would invite tarot readers, and I thought that was so cool. Like that was when I first got into tarot, like reading myself. And my mom gave me her deck of cards, like the deck that I normally use. This one right here. This I played with when I was a little girl. It was my mom's deck, and I love this deck. And she, gifted it to me when I first was like, "Oh my gosh, did you know about this?" And she's like, "Yeah, check this out." And so I thought that was cool. But this deck right here, I was getting ready to go do a meditation in a Himalayan salt meditation room, which was so awesome. Like when we get our building set for our business, like for the Elephant Moon, like when we actually make it a solid foundational thing, which that will happen, like by before 2022 is over. I'd actually love it to be before then, like, but I want to have a Himalayan salt meditation room. I've never seen one since. I've never heard of one before, but it was the most amazing thing. And I was looking around, waiting for my time, and I'd seen this deck, and this was the outside card, and the other card was the snow leopard, and I was just drawn to it. Like, oh my gosh, I was taken back. It was absolutely stunning, and like I was anxious, and I couldn't figure out why I started getting really anxious. So I went to my meditation room, and for the first, like it was 30-minute meditation, and for the first 10-15 minutes, I could not calm down. Like I was so anxious. I would start up on the chair, then I sat down on the floor, because like the floor is a bed of Himalayan rock salt, and then there's 2 chairs in the center of it, and the walls are stones, and they ground up salt that would that would blow in the air, and it helped with like clean your pores, open everything out, cleanse you. Himalayan salt does that. And but I could not calm down. I would, this is a card, this one right here, the snow leopard, and this is what was on the cover of the box, and I was just like, oh my goodness, and like every time I closed my eyes, I would just see that image, and like I could not stop being anxious. And so finally I was like, fine, I'll take you home with me. And then I was able to calm down. And I'd taken all my crystals, and I had my deck of cards with me, laid them all out, meditated, cleansed them, felt real good. Gosh, it was so good. And it ended way too soon. And when I came out, I, told him how it went. I was super, like, it felt so good. And I wasn't going to buy this deck. I was like, nah, whatever. And I started getting really anxious, like, couldn't breathe anxious. My face started getting red. And I was like, losing my breath. And I went to go leave, and I just couldn't leave. I kept wandering around. And finally, I walked over to the wall and I grabbed this deck off the counter or off the shelf. And I said, I need this too. And at that moment, I stopped being anxious. And I have carried this deck around with me ever since. This deck has seen better days. But this is the best thing for emotions, I find. Like, it's helped me get through a lot of things. It's helped me to understand, see things from a different light. Maybe, learn things of my own, and from my own self. And it's helped me to grow. And thanks to my gentleman, he got these for me on my birthday, almost a year ago. And so I want to see what it is that, like, what's the emotional, what can we leave behind so that we can go forward? What is the emotion that's bringing me down? Maybe, bringing us down. If you're reading this or watching this video, then I'm sure you probably feel the same. So what's bringing us down? What's holding us sad? Like, what are we needing to release? What is it that we're cycling through? What is being hidden from us? And I'm grateful that this deck, these animals have been such a beautiful guiding light for me and anybody else who has ever gotten a reading from me. They're stunning. They're amazing. Their guidance and wisdom is so epic and phenomenal. How phenomenal. Peace. Look at this card. Number 1. Okay. We're in the first month of the new year. I love how I always link it here because I know what it looks like, but I want to see it too. But look like he's got, don't be blurry. So over here, he's got like this armor going on. No, it's not. It's like a tribal, like, tiki head tower thing. I guess I've never noticed that. So, like, you've got this spear, you've got this tribal head, and you've got this, I'm not sure what this is. Like, maybe it's a shield, okay? And this gorilla's sitting on the mountain looking at the earth through the clouds. It's beautiful. But if you notice, there's smoke coming from here. All right? And that's incredible. I've never, ever noticed that before. Gosh. Excuse me, like, ogle over my own car that I've had for a year. What this card is saying, so gorillas, they're big, right? They're massive creatures, but they're so peaceful. They, like, there's a story that this gorilla was in, maybe it was in Tarzan. I don't remember. Maybe it was a movie. I can't remember. I have so much information that just fuzzles around. But this gorilla was being provoked, and instead of, like, getting angry and throwing something at whoever was provoking him, he picked up this big boulder. It's actually a story in this book. Ha! The mythos is the gorilla picked up this big boulder, huge boulder, bigger than the other provoker's body, and he lifted it up above his head, and he slammed it down and he walked away. And what that was showing was, like, control, self-control. Like, you can be strong and brawny and throw your weight around and take the world by storm and be that kind of thing, But it takes self-control, and it takes a bigger person, a stronger person, to just walk away, knowing very well what you can do, but deciding to not to. And so that's what this is. Like, this gorilla, he is just sitting there watching the smoke happen. And I feel like but there's light on the earth. So the earth is bright, and it's, maybe a dawn of a new day. And so, like, he didn't use his brawn, he didn't use his strength and his might and to conquer anything. He just instead was peaceful. He walked away. He turned the other cheek. He led with a grace and a power that most people can never even, can only imagine or can only dream of, because it's self-control. And that's, when you and your ego have a great balance, like you work together. I once had a counselor, and when I was in one of my lower moments, and she had told me that I needed to get all of me to get along and work together, or they were gonna separate and we'd work separately. And so I was like, you're fitting to be a split personality, which that's scary. And I didn't know what she meant, and this was before I thought astrology was a joke. I thought that all of this was just fake. It's so crazy how I think now versus how I thought then. And she said, just start journaling, which is also when I began journaling. And I was like, okay. So I went home that day, and I didn't do anything, but I sat down and I started writing, "Hi, my name is Bridget, and I am sad." And then all of a sudden, my handwriting started changing, and I started learning all these things about myself that I already knew. I just suppressed and didn't listen to. And I learned to become at peace with them. And I'm mostly passive. I'm still learning because I'm also human. But let's take on to go forward to help us through. Let's be peaceful like the gorilla. We can call on the gorilla magic to help control our anger, our angry urges, or our outbursts of emotion that are troublesome. And that's super cool. Number one, right there, the gorilla for peace. So beautiful. One more time. Here you go. Just see this. I also look like this so I can see if it's like not blurry. But I'm sure that I have gone past my break time limits. Maybe not. Maybe I'm right at the end. But thank you so much for supporting me and supporting the Elephant Moon. And I am super grateful that we have this going on and growing. Until next time, I hope you have a great day. I hope that if you're down, the gorilla can help you get back up and be peaceful with yourself. And so much love and so much light. And enjoy the rest of your weekend.